The Bell Keeper's Record. It was a crisp autumn evening when the shadows began creeping back into my life. A chill in the air that felt familiar, yet unsettling. Returning to the old town felt like a waking nightmare, one that had simmered for years beneath the surface of my memory. My family had begged me to stay away, to abandon my obsession with campanology, the study of bells, yes, but also the echoes of dread they carried. They called it insane, unhealthy, delusional. They laughed at my fascination with the hidden horrors of our local churches, the forgotten tolls that whispered of despair and death. But they didn't know what I had come to know. Years ago, when I first reported those midnight tolls that no one else could hear, I was met with disbelief, ridicule, and scorn. My family joined the chorus, their derision a familiar refrain. "You'll disgrace us, you'll lose your mind," they said. "Let the bells rest in peace." But I could not silence the haunting chimes. They sang a song no one else could grasp, one steeped in sorrow and secrets. I had been right and wrong. There was a truth behind the bells, a depth of darkness that I had uncovered, which now followed me like an unshakable shadow. I had spent years cataloging the forgotten church bells that lined this town, each one a vessel of history, horror, and hidden grief. I had become a renowned expert in forbidden campanology, known not just for my knowledge, but for surviving the toll of curses that had swallowed others whole. As I stood before the church where it all began, the fading paint and cracked stone felt like a ghost of my past, a reminder of who I had once been and what I had escaped. I was here to confront those who deemed me a fool, to lay bare what they had scorned. The air thickened as I stepped inside the church. The once familiar scent of aged wood and incense now mingled with a suffocating sense of dread. My family was there, gathered in a semicircle as if to ward off the truth, their faces pale and apprehensive. They had heard the rumors of my work, the chilling recognition I had gained, but they still couldn't fathom the depths of my knowledge. "Why are you here?" My mother's voice trembled, resentment and fear blending in her tone. The contempt she once wore like armor, now shattered by something she couldn't articulate. "To show you," I replied, my voice darker than I remembered. "You doubted me, but the bells, they've always held the truth. You'll see what I found." I reached into my satchel and pulled out a dusty old tome, its pages yellowed and frayed, filled with the etchings of bells long forgotten and tales of the souls they had summoned. "Each bell has a story," I said, the words heavy with significance. "Each toll a memory, each warning a curse." The flickering candlelight around us seemed to flicker in response, casting grotesque shadows on the walls, and I could see their discomfort grow as I recounted the legends of the cursed bells, how those who dared to mock their power risked awakening what should remain buried. "Do you remember the old church bell at St. Mary's?" I continued, the story pulling them deeper into the web of their disbelief. "It told every midnight, marking the death of those who had wronged the souls of the departed, and those who mocked it." Before I could finish, a distant chime reverberated through the church. It was a sound that should not have been there, a low and mournful toll that echoed through the rafters, an unsettling symphony of despair. My mother gasped, her eyes wide with terror. I watched as realization dawned on them, a dawning horror that no amount of doubt could erase. "What have you done?" My father's voice cracked. I smiled, a twisted grin born from years of scorn and shame. "I've awakened them." The air grew heavy, a palpable dread seeping from the walls, and with the next toll, I felt the presence of the souls we had ignored, their anguish pressing down on us like a shroud. The shadows in the corners of the room twisted and writhed, forming shapes that were both familiar and terrifying. Faces of the damned, the lost, the forgotten. My family recoiled, their disbelief crumbling like dust in the face of undeniable reality. "Ma, Dad, this is what you mocked," I whispered, my heart racing, knowing that the unveiling of their hubris was about to reach its climax. "You thought I was insane, but the bells speak the truth, and now they want to be heard." As the tolling grew louder, the shadows surged forward, taking form, grasping at the edges of their sanity. The church grew colder, the very air thick with the palpable weight of regret and fear. My family staggered back, their eyes wide with terror as the faces of the damned closed in around them. "Please," my mother cried, her voice a strangled plea, "we were wrong." I stepped back into the shadows, a witness to their unraveling, their denial, finally matched with the terror they had laughed away for so long. The tolls filled my ears, a cacophony of despair and realization. The price of disbelief ringing louder than any bell. The tolling ceased, leaving only the echo of their horrified breaths in the stillness. I had become what they had feared, a keeper of the bells, a harbinger of their secrets. As I stepped into the light, I felt a chill of vindication wash over me, a dark triumph blooming in my chest. "I am not the disgrace you thought I was," I said softly, turning to leave. "I am the truth you can no longer deny." As I walked away, I left behind the weight of their shame and the echoes of their cries, resolute in my knowledge that sometimes it's not the bells that toll for us, but the truths we ignore that come back to haunt us. They would never understand what I had learned, but now they would understand the cost of their disbelief.